Bang.
Getting closer, really.
Bang. Balls, blood and bass.
That wouldn't be further on.
Bang. Abby.
I'm coming to London. Evie, shut up and sit down, you big bald fuck.
So today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite film directors of all time, Guy Ritchie. While he doesn't have the longest list of films under his belt, you've without a doubt heard of many of his films. From his first film, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, of course, Sherlock Holmes and its subsequent sequel, Sherlock Holmes Game of Shadows, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Gentleman, and one of my favorite movies of all time, Snatch. His films usually have some sort of crime element to them, typically that of the British variety, with thick Cockney accents.
This is one of them high-power jobs, isn't it? Oh! Got some bad news for you, John.
What the fuck?
Mind your language in front of the boy.
Jesus Christ!
Humorous and witty dialogue.
Where? London.
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 London?
Yes, London. You know, fish, chips, cup of tea, bad food, worse weather, Mary fucking Poppins, London.
And, of course, action. Lots and lots of action. But one of the main elements from his films that I really wanted to discuss today is his editing.
You can look at 5 minutes of a film and you know the director has a stamp on it, like, you know, a Hitchcock movie or Woody Allen movie. Even if you don't know what the film is, you know that's a Woody Allen movie. You look at 5 minutes of a guy, but you already know it's a Guy Ritchie movie. He's got his own signature.
As Alan Ford here says, when you watch a Guy Ritchie film, you can usually see his stamp on it. To break that stamp down, his editing is usually comprised of quick cuts, zoom-ins and zoom-outs, fast motion and slow motion for the purpose of breaking down a character's thoughts, showing multiple events happening at the same time, or creating a theme related to the character.
These films are about fast-paced, move it quick, and try not to have any fat on it whatsoever.
By editing with this mentality, Ritchie creates fast-paced, high-energy sequences that keep the audience invested and don't waste any screen time. Take this Snatch scene here that I had at the beginning of the video.
I'm coming to London. Evie, shut up and sit down, you big bald fuck.
Here, Ritchie takes no time getting Cousin Abby from New York to London in under 7 seconds with only 7 quick cuts. Another thing Ritchie will do is create a running theme or joke. This edit with Avi is used 2 more times in Snatch. Once in the middle when something unfortunate happens and Avi leaves London.
Anything to declare? Yeah, don't go to England.
And at the very end of the movie when Abby has to return to London. He also uses quick cuts to help establish character traits or thoughts. For instance, he could show that a character has a gambling problem.
And what?
Stay out of those casinos.
Or he could show how a character is observing others in a scene.
Straighten your tie.
Holmes.
My personal favorite way he uses quick cuts, though, is when he visually breaks down some kind of process, be it the unlocking of a safe,
Very difficult
to open it. But it's not. Impossible.
The firing of a gun, or the firing of an even bigger gun. Besides quick cuts, Ritchie likes to play with the speed of the footage he shoots. The most obvious example of this is the Holmes vision he created for the Sherlock Holmes movies. These scenes start in slow motion as Holmes begins his plan of attack.
First, distract target. Then block his blind jab. Counter with cross to left cheek. Discombobulate. Dazed, will attempt wild haymaker. Employ elbow block. And body shot. Block ferrule left. Weaken right jaw. Now fracture. Break cracked ribs. Traumatize solar plexus. Dislocate jaw entirely. Heel kick to diaphragm. In summary, ears ringing, jaw fractured, 3 ribs cracked, 4 broken, diaphragm hemorrhaging. Physical recovery, 6 weeks. Full psychological recovery, 6 months.
Once he has a plan, the fight is then executed in real time. His tendency to use similar edits also lets him play with audience expectations. We are used to events playing out the way Sherlock predicts, so when something unexpected happens, it is more entertaining and satisfying. For example, he can be interrupted, like in this clip.
First, pillage the nest. Clip wings. Now, blunt his beak. Crack eggs. Scramble. Pinch of salt. Touch of pepper. Flip the omelette. Additional seasoning required. Breakfast is served.
Or we can see how the similarly intelligent villain Moriarty matches wit with Holmes.
His advantage, my injury. My advantage, his rage. Incoming assault, feral, but experienced. Use his momentum to counter.
Come now. You really think you're the only one who can play this game? Trap arm. Target weakness. Follow with haymaker.
Ah, there we find the boxing champion of Cambridge.
Competent, but predictable. Now, allow me to reply.
Arsenal running dry, adjust strategy.
Wound taking its toll.
As I feared, injury makes defense untenable. Prognosis, increasingly negative.
Let's not waste any more of one another's time. We both know how this ends.
I do quite like action sequences, but I'm only interested in action sequences if I can somehow add something new to it.
One thing you'll notice throughout these clips is the exaggerated sound effects. These are used to give certain objects or movements emphasis, intensify action, and to just overall add color to a scene. Ritchie will also make use of zoom-ins and zoom-outs to give an idea of scale, depth, or distance to his work. Take this clip from The Man from U.N.C.L.E., for example. There are 3 different vehicles in this scene, so the added attention to characters' locations helps the viewer keep track of who is where, in addition to building the tension that our heroes can catch the villain in time. Ritchie will also use zooms to create cool transitions by zooming and cutting on the same subject. For instance, in this scene, he uses this method to transition into a flashback. Or in this opening sequence where we follow different objects in between character introductions, usually through zooms. Ritchie's style of editing results in many creative and fun scenes, and while you may argue much of his work is style over substance, he also has a lot of depth to his storytelling. One of my favorite scenes he's edited is this one here from Snatch. The scene cuts between a rabbit hunt and a gang of thugs chasing someone who helped rob them.
Hey, we're on!
The intercutting of the scenes is great because it is a visual metaphor. The guy running is the rabbit, and the guys chasing him are the dogs. It just has a lot of levels that I really like. Little stuff like that is why I really enjoy Guy Ritchie's films, and the editing. While I don't want to copy Ritchie exactly, I feel that there's a lot to learn from him and how he edits his movies to make them such a blast to watch. I hope if nothing else, I've convinced you to go out and watch Guy Ritchie's work. I can't recommend his movies enough. Thank you all for watching this video essay. See you next time.